Hello, my name is Tavonia Jones. This presentation will explore the essential components of my interpersonal communication plan aimed at enhancing connections and understanding. In this presentation, we will begin with an introduction to the purpose and importance of interpersonal communication. We will then examine behavioral blends, common barriers that hinder effective communication, establish goals and strategies for improvement, and finally discuss how to implement and monitor these strategies. This presentation will cover key elements, including Carbonell behavioral blend and background, communicational barriers, the development and implementation of effective strategies, and the implementation of each action. According to Pernuche, interpersonal communication is how two people communicate. It can mean sharing information and expressing thoughts or emotions, either face to face or through a medium, such as a phone, email, or social media. Interpersonal communication refers to verbal and nonverbal communication, including body language, facial expressions, and tone. Raised in a multi-generational household with my grandmother as the matriarch, communication was loving but stern. My grandmother did not believe in concealing the truth because God would bring that truth out eventually in some form or fashion. During my adolescence, my grandmother believed children were seen and not heard, especially when grown folks were talking. However, during those intimate times of our relationship, my grandmother taught me how to be a voice in this world, despite the world's view of young Black women. As a rebellious young adult, I could not relate to a conversation about emotional regulation or skills, probably because of the flat brain syndrome. I was an emotional wreck, and I did not trust anyone with my feelings and emotions. I experienced so much emotional trauma during those years. No one could tell me anything about how to control my emotions, and I acted out on all the emotions I felt. Eventually, after counseling, I learned a few techniques that still got me through the toughest days, that still gets me through the toughest days. According to Carbonell, my communication style varies according to a social setting. In private settings, such as hanging out with my family and close friends, I tend to manage my emotions effectively, which tend to lead to constructive conversations and allow deeper connections. My communication style also varies with my family and close friends. Communication techniques vary based on the person's tone and conversation topic. For Carbonell's personality type graph 1, this is expected of me. I am an S type. I believe people expect me to be more sensitive and submissive, very loyal and friendly on an individual basis. My humble spirit and quiet demeanor makes me well liked, despite being not outwardly friendly. I tend to have many friends who like me because I am not overbearing or confrontational. I think others want me to be pleasing and easygoing. My caring and gracious service makes me a jewel, even if people do not recognize it. For Carbonell's personality type graph 2, this is me. As a CDS type, people expect me to be direct, submissive, and competent. People often assume that I am passive while sometimes surprising others with my dominant ways. I do not tend to be a talker or crowd pleaser. I often do not consider myself reserved because of my soft and contemplative tendencies. I like to be in charge while cautiously moving forward to reach a specific goal. I also like to help those who may be hesitant or need more reassurance. I am often seen as a blend of strength, sensitivity, and serious thinking. Individual challenges such as anxiety, lack of confidence, or preconceived notions can obstruct communication. Self awareness and reflection are crucial in overcoming those personal barriers. In professional settings, I am always actively listening. My inability to emotionally regulate my inner feelings of fear, frustration, and anxiety prevents me from revealing my vulnerabilities to colleagues. Work often involves a lot of accusatory forms of communication, which leads me to shut down. Consequently, my interactions are limited to surface level conversations, and I tend to keep my feelings and emotions to myself. Peterson states that it's easier for a person to attack than to deal with their own lack of certainty. Communication barriers can lead to misunderstandings, conflicts, and strained relationships, as quoted by Peterson. Addressing these barriers is essential for fostering healthy connections with others. During the first 5 years of our marriage, listening was quite challenging for both myself and my husband. We often talked over each other, which made it difficult to understand each other's needs and feelings. Our communication was ineffective and inefficient. The anxiety we both developed while trying to be correct began to hinder the confidence we had in our marriage. After consulting with some elders in our families about decades of marriage secrets, we learned that talking respectfully and using the correct tone could improve our communication. They also recommended prayer, emphasizing that divine support for our bond extended beyond mere verbal exchanges. It requires active listening and commitment to improve communication. After receiving these precious tools from our elders, we realized that our communication needed to improve for our relationship to grow. We made a conscious effort to provide each other with a safe space to share our thoughts and emotions without fear or judgment. This involved being patient and supportive, as well as truly engaging in each other's perspectives. My communication goal is to be understanding and sincere while navigating the complexities of my own interpersonal communication and to create a safe place of communication for myself and close family and friends. According to Barami, implementing SMART goals, specific, measurable, achievable, reliant, and time-bound goals, is essential for effective communication and achieving success. To achieve my goals, I need to develop strategies such as active listening and empathy while communicating. These techniques will enhance my ability to connect with others meaningfully. Furthermore, spiritual teachings have provided valuable guidance for interpersonal communications. For instance, according to the King James Bible, Ephesians chapter 4, verse 32 advises to be kind to one another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as God for Christ's sake hath forgiven you. This principle of kindness and forgiveness informs a more empathetic and understanding approach to both personal and professional interactions. Establishing a therapeutic alliance with clients in the human service field requires trust, but also creates a foundation for meaningful progress in the client worker relationship. Empathy involves the ability to deeply understand and connect with another person's feelings and experiences while effectively communicating this understanding. According to Francis Waco, empathy is understanding another person and communicating your understanding to the individual. It requires active listening, an openness to the client's perspective, and a willingness to be validated, and a willingness to validate the emotions without judgment. I tend to refine my skills by practicing established techniques such as expressing gratitude, becoming an effective listener, and embracing single tasks. Schultz and Bedinsky suggest that heartfelt gratitude encourages individuals to be less self-centered and more oriented towards serving others. Engaging in communication with God fosters a loving relationship with Him, which can positively influence all other relationships in our lives. To become an effective listener, it is essential to develop self-control and emotional stability, enabling one to listen attentively without interruption. According to Schultz and Banditsky, true listening to God leads us to choose life, healthy relationships over death, which are destructive relationships. God desires for us to listen, aims to allow us to find joy in Him, in others, and in ourselves. The concept of focusing on a single task at a time may be intimidating, particularly for individuals accustomed to multitasking in their daily lives. Roles such as a wife, mother, grandmother, and daughter often make it difficult to concentrate on one task without engaging in multiple activities. Implementing a strategy of practicing gratitude, becoming an effective listener, and embracing single tasking could significantly enhance my communication skills. This improvement in communication can lead to effective, efficient, and healthy lifelong relationships. The strategy will be implemented immediately, starting with journaling my daily expectations regarding effectively communicated conversations. I plan to allocate specific times on the day for journaling, avoiding the need to multitask. Additionally, I will closely monitor my expectations and emotions in both positive and negative communication settings. I will also delegate responsibilities to my immediate family members to accomplish my goals. The ultimate goal is to become a board certified behavior analyst, which requires proficient and efficient communication skills while interacting with clients and their families. In conclusion, enhancing interpersonal communication is a continuous journey that requires commitment and practice. By implementing a structured communication plan, we can foster deeper connections and understandings in our relationships. I apologize for being nervous and thank you for listening.